I think I'll start from the angle of, when you want to relocate, what are the first steps? Um, at top of my head, the first steps I would say in terms of relocation would be doing your research. For the realities of things, even if you're a believer, the first thing you should do is do your research. Research can also look like inquiring God. Research can also look like inquiring God. Yes, because even before, David would say, and David inquired of the Lord, should I pursue? Will I overtake? And God said, pursue, overtake, and for surely you recover all. So it's biblical to also even do research. So even when the Israelites wanted to take over the land, the first thing they went to do is go do what? They went to spy the land. So that tells you something, that it's important for you to understand that research cannot be underestimated. Hello everyone, welcome to the Flavoured Life channel. Welcome back. Happy new month. It's me here, FSA for short, which is Favourite Times in Ajayi. Lovely to meet you if you're coming in for the first time on our channel. This is such a pleasure. I'm so happy to, meet you. Feel free to drop where you're from in the comment section. Always excited to read from you. Welcome to May. May is so much sunshine, so much beautiful new beginnings. And I mean, from our last video with the wellness check, it was also very important that, we keep the record straight in terms of the fact that it's not too late to start. You can always speak up from wherever you are and do so much greater things within the year 2025. And so welcome. So today we're talking about something very interesting. So yes, get your water, grab your juice, and just sit tight and enjoy. It's going to be very vulnerable. I want you to be open-minded as well. And it's going to be real. I think 2 months ago, we did talk about the relocation journey, and we started out as the people's real experiences and, how the move was and the realities of things. And so I think I've just been getting a lot of DMs as to how do we move? What do we do? Is it school? Is it work? Is it research? And I just feel like I need to do this video because the next person that asks me this question, I will just refer them to this particular video. So yes, grab your juice, grab your water, let's just get right in. Yes, so basically I think I'll start from the angle of, when you want to relocate, what are the first steps? At top of my head, the first steps I would say in terms of relocation would be doing your research. For the realities of things, even if you're a believer, the first thing you should do is do your research. Research can also look like inquiring God. Research can also look like inquiring God. Yes, because even before, David would say, and David inquired of the Lord, should I pursue? Will I overtake? And God said, pursue, overtake, and for surely you recover all. So it's biblical to also even do research. So even when the Israelites wanted to take over the land, the first thing they went to do is go do what? They went to spy the land. So that tells you something, that it's important for you to understand that research cannot be underestimated. And so basically, it is very important and pertinent before you move to anywhere, actually, whether it's an interstate migration or a total relocation from internationally, locally, nationally, regionally. Research. You cannot not research. And so it's really important. And so whether that research is you inquiring from God and asking him if it's his will for you to move, or whether that's also checking about the place you're intending to move, as to what you'll be doing there, as to what are the best ways to move. All of those things I think is really important. I feel like a lot of times people that want to move, I'm not so sure of the stats, and I don't really want to give a wrong stats, but honestly, 60% of people that want to make a move, they hardly do deep work in terms of research. I find a lot of times even basic questions that you could literally find from Google has not been done. And honestly, it always makes me feel like, how serious are you about the move? If you're really serious about the move, one of the ways you can show that it's the level of deep work you've done in terms of research. Even if that research looks like inquiring from the next 7 people that are currently in the place where you want to be, and you'll be like, oh my God, favor. So yeah, basically, it's a thing of thinking about the fact that, like I said, it's a thing of you thinking this through, thinking it through from the angle or the lens of the fact that you need to consult. Let's lay the cards bare. Let's be realistic. Even if you have to reach out to people, you might not know someone, so you might be like, oh, but favor, I don't know anyone there. I just want to take a leap of faith, and a lot of times that happens. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But I'm saying that though it happens, you can also create measures to help yourself. So for example, you have nobody there. Maybe there's a community of people, maybe from LinkedIn, you could check. IG, the world is now a global village. TikTok, there's so many places where you could get to meet people, just like how you have professional connections. Within professional connections, you also have to you see people where they'll tell you where they're living. And you realize that, if it's a school, usually they would have some group chats that they want for international students. So you would already start messaging some people. There'll be alumni from that same school that are still in the same group. And you never know. There's the world is such a global village that you cannot not know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. I don't believe in an isolated life. I believe in the beauty of community and the wholesomeness of people. And so I feel like being intentional in that journey of, trying to build a community or find a community where you're going is so important and critical to your research, because it would help you to really know your onion, because sometimes even the stats can't really help you in the realities of things. So, for example, you've never been to this city before, and maybe you couldn't find anyone in that city. Maybe you can find someone in the country. That in itself is the first step to even narrowing down. And that person who knows might also know someone that's in the city that you're actually aiming to go at the end of the day. And they're able to give you real life stats as to what it is that are the challenges, the current opportunities, the realities, and all of those beautiful stuff. Now, am I saying that, don't journey in faith and move in fullness of what God has said you should do and how you should move? No, on the contrary, to do research is part of the journey of faith, because when they said they should go spy the land, they also knew that, it was faith for them to go and check it out. How they would now perceive what they were checking out is now how your faith works. Right? So, some people said they were like giants and they were like, grasshoppers. And obviously, that's why they never saw the promised land, because that was their reality. But they were like, we can overtake it. We can do it. We can surely overtake it. That tells you something. It tells you that, you're not hearing the stories of war to put you down. You're hearing the realism of the reality to help you put in perspective what you want to see. And that might not look like you praying harder, but praying strategically. It could also mean you looking for opportunities you're entering to the country. It could also look like maybe strategy, so maybe you were indifferent as to what to study, but then now you know that there are no opportunities in this regard. There are opportunities in this sector, maybe nursing sector, there's opportunities there more. This other sector, there's more opportunities. You're able to plunge into that sector that has shortage of skills, and you're able to leverage it so that you're sure that at least if you come in and you do this particular degree or master's, as it were, or even PhD, you're to a level guaranteed a job. Does that make sense? So I feel like research cannot be understated. I feel like being intentional about the level of research and the depth of work that goes into play when it comes to moving is something that is critical. Next thing I'll talk about is CV. So maybe you've had different experiences over the years, and you realize that because you're in a different country, for example, let's say Nigeria, you're in a different country and you're wanting to move to the United Kingdom, for instance. You don't also expect that the CV criteria, requirement, and format will be the same, because remember, you're moving regions and you're moving nations, continents, in fact. And so you would then look at what are the best practices, what is a winning CV, what does it look like? So you see that whole LinkedIn connection that you went to create those years ago when you came on LinkedIn as a LinkedIn person. Now you're gonna put it to work. Check ATS softwares that or rather ATS software guaranteed CVs that, these CVs have been a winning try, or that nephew or that cousin or that person that works in a very great company. You don't necessarily even need to ask so much more. You could just be like, sorry, could I see your CV? I just want to see the format of what it looks like. It might not even be your CV if you're not comfortable. Can you help me get a CV that just looks like what needs to be? And you can also do a Google search, UK certified CVs, and look at the different sectors and what they look like, just to have an idea. So am I saying it might be the ideal or the best or the, because there's never really that one best CV. CVs are tailored per job. However, there is a format that is most likely very different from where you're coming from. And so doing a research as to updating the current country that you're in is as important as your research. Because if you're saying you're applying for jobs, but you're still using the CVs of the region you currently live in for the next region that you're trying to enter, then most likely you're not as ready as you say you are. And so I'll talk about that in terms of even trying to do a cover letter. What does that look like? What is acceptable? What is not? And I mean, a lot of people have written a plethora of resources out there, whether it's even YouTube channel like this. There's so many people with so much wisdom, so much information. There's so much information that you cannot go wrong, in the sense that you cannot even say there's a lack of information, because it's not a lack of information. It's just laziness. Or maybe a lack of awareness for some other people, because I understand that sometimes some of these things are not as plain as theirs, I think. Sorry guys, I feel like I'm shouting in this video, but I think sometimes it's just sad how much people just want to be babied through the processes. And I'm like, sometimes it's in the rigor that you get better, you get stretched, you get ready for the move. Because the truth of the matter is, if they baby you through the processes, 100% of the time you come in here, you will be slack. But if you're already getting stretched by the move, by the adjustment, by the updates, by the research, you're getting ready to actually thrive in this country. Because a lot of times the laws are changing, things are changing. The more you're aware of the ukgov.uk sites, understanding what has changed, what is currently in, what's in place, these are the things that will help you. So I'm not even just saying research to move. I'm saying to thrive, you need to keep being updated and current. And that is the technology for the 21st century. So I will stop here because I feel like I'm too passionate in this topic. But yes, I really want you to be able to move swiftly, but also wisely. I've seen too many people coming and they were doing so well where they were, and they come in and they're living less of themselves, a shadow of themselves. And it's sad. It's sad because it's just sad, honestly. And I think that's really what propelled me to do this series or episode, as you'll call it, because I just feel like you can be so much more, and there's so much more for you out there than living barest minimum. Because at the end of the day, all is vanity. And if you think about it, when God comes calling, at the end of the day, would he say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant"? Would there be a well done at the end of the day? If there's not going to be a well done, what point is all of this? So impact and purpose is at the heart of everything that I breathe, live, and do. And I just hope that that's also the beckoning of your heart. So even whether it's a move, whether it's a transition, I just hope that the whole purpose at the end of the day is to make life impact. And honestly, the world will be a better place if we can all think impact, legacy, purpose. But yes, with this pre-plan of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that you're in the right place and in the right space, and it's not a coincidence but a God incident. And so thank you so much for watching the Flavoured Life channel today. I will implore you to like, to comment, to share, and obviously click on that subscribe button, because we want to have an avalanche of a family and a harvest. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video.